you have to start taking active income and producing passive income, which means you have to limit your lifestyle. You have to say there's a certain amount of money every single month or every single commission check that is going to fuel my ability to limit my own requirement to go to work. Until you come to that realization, you're hooked on the drug, man. I mean, you're just like, give me more active income, help me build this active business. But if you're really clear, your vision of the future self includes you not working so hard and you not being the asset that something else is producing that cash flow, this becomes a lot easier. Because without that, you're just going to spend. If you can create disciplines in your business that require you to set aside certain percentages of your money towards taxes, debt, owner's pay, OPEX, those are things that a business owner does that most realtors do not do.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, stories, help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. My man, what's up?
What's up, bro? Not much. I'm excited. We got dinner tonight. I'm excited that our trial is up and running. We had 14 people. I'm working Saturday and Sunday, like full days. Just that people like, we don't have, like, we want to get in the trial. And I'm like, book it on the calendar. Like, there's no spots and screenshots. And so we're doing a 14-day trial, proof over promise, into the Real Estate Sales Academy. So if you are an agent making over $89,999 and you want to see what we're all about, I'm not saying don't go and join like Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry, great networks, different things, but we have an accelerated sales program where we teach you how to sell. That's my commercial. Your turn, Cody.
That was a great commercial. I really appreciate that. You know, the team told us that we had to keep this to a limited amount of time because that we banter a lot in the very beginning. So we also have a trial, and it's if you have over 2,000 leads in your database and you want free appointments, we're going to send you 3, show you exactly how the Sheridan Street appointment engine system works. We're going to do that for free. Yeah, we're going to do that for free. SheridanStreet.io/trial. Get yourself into a trial, chat with our team. I am not working on the weekend like you, Vikram, and I don't have to book with our sales team.
I don't have a cool URL yet because you haven't made it for me. So hopefully this is a short podcast, but I think we're up on our time. So you want to introduce Joey?
Hi, we have Joey Mure, like puree, with us on the podcast. He told me that it was like that. So yeah.
And why? Yeah. Joey, bro. Good guy.
So we have Joey with us, Wealth Without Wall Street. Really excited to have a conversation today with Joey. Joey got connected with us through our main man, Sharon Servazza. We were actually chatting in the green room about how he was recently in Vegas with Sharon, and they're having conversations, and we had the opportunity to connect. I know I'm a little jealous as well. We get to see Sharon in October, which is exciting.
40 days.
San Diego, 40 days. We're excited about that. But Sharon and Sharon told me a lot about Wealth Without Wall Street. He's told me a lot about what Joey's up to in the space. Joey has a background in, spent, I think, 11 years in the mortgage industry, really now with a passion to help entrepreneurs, help people really create passive income so that they can really experience financial freedom.
He was telling us a story, and I want to segue into this. I don't want to steal your thunder, brother, but he was telling us a story, and I think this is why Sharon really wanted us to connect. He was like, a couple of weeks ago, a real estate agent passed away. It happens, life, right? But they went to the real estate agent's page, one of his friends did, and that agent was showing houses literally like 80 years old on her deathbed, showing people property. And it wasn't necessarily because she wanted to. It was probably because she actually had to because of the finances. So, I kind of want to segue to Joey about like what he does and then like bring it back to like how this can actually impact real estate agents at all levels.
I mean, how many people right now are literally nodding their heads in agreement with what you just said, Vikram? Like, they've been in the industry long enough to see not just one person like Patty, who I'm referencing, her story, but multiple people that they've seen them literally coming into the sales office and having to submit the contract and going out to show houses in their, 94 Buick that they're still driving because they're just trying to make ends meet. And that's just not that's not the end of the story that anybody wants to tell. But because they didn't do anything in the previous 20 years, 30 years, whatever the case may have been, they had no options. And that's the thing that I'm passionate about, is not just real estate agents, but that they have a really kind of a warm spot in my heart, because I worked so hard for 11 years in that industry, and I got to see and have so many friends in that industry that, man, they have one of the biggest needs of anybody. Here they are amongst where most people have made a massive amount of wealth. Like, they're literally in and out of houses and commercial properties and industrial properties every day. And many of them never turn that knowledge into their own passive income streams. And that's just sad to me.
Let's start with knowledge, because I think that we live in a day and age now where information is freely available. We like our knowledge, like if you look at even like, I think back to 2010, I was just graduating university, and the knowledge about investing, the knowledge about the stock market, the knowledge about just putting your money to work, we didn't have that information. So we have the information right now, and we see, I think for the most part, we see more investors. But why do you think that people go through their entire lives never investing a dollar back, either A, back into themselves, or B, back into like a ETF, or into a business, or what do you think? Like, there's so much
why
knowledge
don't
out
agents
there.
ever buy real estate? Because I made a lot of money and I saw a lot of houses, and I came from an investment world and flipping to getting a divorce to starting to sell real estate, and I get caught up in the same game that all the things talk about. And I'm super passionate about this because we were making, $1 million a year, and I didn't buy any real estate. But prior to that, I had $700,000 in hard money loans and 3 flips at any given time for 2.5 years until I got a divorce. And then I got loaded up with all the stupid coaching that's like, you need to exit the business, put everything back into the business. Level 8 is business that nobody exits the business. No team leads ever exit the business. So we're going to have to bleep a lot of this out, but like, it pisses me off that agents show houses all day long, Joey, and they don't buy a single one of those great properties ever for themselves.
You know why that is, right?
No.
It's because they're hooked on the drug of active income, right? There's an active income drug that each realtor sees and feels, and it's this high, like this big hit of commission. Their lifestyle creep starts to happen, and then they become dependent on that lifestyle, that income has to come every single month. And so they're on the hamster wheel, right? I have to go out and I have to show homes. I have to go out and list homes. And when that commission comes in, boom, I can afford my lifestyle. That's why after 2009, I saw tons and tons of my friends exit the business because they had become dependent on that level that wasn't even really sustainable in the market, especially with a huge downturn. Well, we're right on the precipice of that right now. And the only thing that changes that is you have to kind of step back and say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If I don't have something else being leveraged to create income that comes into my bank account every month that doesn't require me, then I am the asset. Okay. If you are the asset, that means you're the single point of failure. That means the market can directly put you into bankruptcy because you're the only thing producing income. You have to start taking active income and producing passive income, which means you have to limit your lifestyle. You have to say there's a certain amount of money every single month or every single commission check or whatever the case may be that is going to fuel my ability to limit my own requirement to go to work. Until you come to that realization, you're hooked on the drug, man. I mean, you're just like, give me more active income, help me build this active business. But until then, that's what's going to happen.
Let me ask you this right out the gate. I was really good. We made a lot of money in our business, and I had saved a lot of money and I invested a lot of money. And, so when I retired in 2018, I walked away with, I could have lived for a few years had I not opened my business with my dad. I could have lived for a few years, no challenges at all, and been completely fine. How do we as agents, right? Like agents that are out there, they're doing 2 or 3, like I talked to an agent yesterday, great guy. He's talking about money problems, but he's selling $20,000 to $30,000 a month in real estate every month. And he's like, money was kind of tight because I had some family challenges, and, but he's got this gorgeous gold, beautiful gold watch on, right? Like, I was like, bro, that's a sexy watch. But how do we help an agent that's making money, right? Like, let's say they're making $10,000, $15,000 a year. They're not living in downtown LA or Santa Monica where the, teardowns are $2 million now. How do they structure like the paycheck that comes in, right? They get this big fat paycheck. It's $20,000 or $10,000. Let's say $10,000 for easy math. We know that some of it's got to go to taxes right out the gate. What about the rest of the money? Like, how do you help them right out the gate, put some money away, 10%, 20%, and then the rest of the money, it's like, guys, you can do whatever you want with it because now you've paid your future self. How do you help your people in your mastermind with that structure?
So great question. And I think it comes down to, first of all, if you're really clear that your vision of the future self includes you not working so hard and you not being the asset, that something else is producing that cash flow, this becomes a lot easier. Because without that, you're just going to spend. You're just going to, the reason why that person is telling you his money problems is because he's telling you he's making 20 or 30 grand a month, but how much is he paying in marketing expenses? And like, what is the outflow of his business that's providing that inflow of income? And so a lot of times people are telling you the gross, but the net is what actually matters, right? So, hey, I made 30 grand. Whoop-de-doo if I'm on a 40% margin. I've spent so much in overhead and VAs and all this other stuff. Those things are great, but you got to still live within the means. What I would say that the next thing is have you ever heard of Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First?
Yeah, totally.
To me, that is one of the most brilliant things that anybody can go and do is read that book, apply it to your business. If you can create disciplines in your business that require you to set aside certain percentages of your money towards taxes, towards debt, towards owner's pay, towards OPEX, like those are things that a business owner does that most realtors do not do. I just know from experience.
How do you automate it though? Like in this world that we live in with AI and all this automation, like, is there a program? Is there a place? Because like, I don't want to send my commission check to some random person, but like, is there like an automatic sorting system that here's $10,000, 20% goes here, 10% goes here? Because when you get the money, it becomes an emotional thing.
Right.
Like you get that dopamine, you're like, oh, I got 20K. And then by the time you split it up, you're like, oh my God, there's 37 pesos left. I can't even buy a stick of juicy fruit double yum gum. Where did we automate this stuff at, bro? Because it's too hard for agents to think about it every time because their brains are so busy doing so many different activities. Like, how do we help them just automate this thing?
Yeah. Well, I would say when you apply Profit First, that book, it really specifically tells you how to set up literally separate bank accounts and some of them are even at different banks than where you normally bank so that you can't get your hands on it as easily. I think that's a really good discipline. But you can set up automations within those bank transfers. Like whenever I get paid this amount, a certain percentage goes here, a certain percentage goes here.
Really?
And I only pay myself on the 10th and the 25th, right? I applied it to my business and realtors can do the exact same thing. because our income is just up and down, just like anybody else's. Any business owner is dealing with that same issue. But realtors in particular, I don't think take the time to run it like a business. And that is what really causes them to just continue to dip into the wrong pockets for the wrong things. But we actually have a course called the Automated Budget within our community that people can download, and it kind of walks you through. Essentially, it's a different version of the Profit First system. But to me, that is a critical thing, and it's partially just thinking like a business owner.
So when we're talking about Profit First, for those that don't know, it's essentially like you said, like you breaking apart into different bank accounts, one bank account for taxes, one bank account for like investing, one bank account for, slush fund. I'm curious though, to kind of talk about, aside from real estate, what are other things that you can advise agents on that they should be considering that can put their money to work aside from real estate?
Yeah, great question. And anytime someone hears our company name, Wealth Without Wall Street, they're like, wonder what do you guys invest in, right? It's always about the investment. And I could point you to our passive income report. Russ and I, Russ has been on your show before, but yeah, Russ and I are business partners, and we started reporting our income in July of 2020, and we only had $2,500 a month of passive income coming in the door that we were reporting. Now, fast forward, we started doing a lot of different things, trying things. Sometimes we would win, sometimes we would fail, and we just shared every single month what was the scorecard, so to speak. And now we're reporting over $50,000 a month in all these different areas, but things from land flipping, right? Which, by the way, if you're in real estate and you can figure out how to apply the same skills that you already know, you're going to be much better off. You're reducing risk when you invest in things that you already know and understand. But sometimes you need a coach or mentor or a program to teach you how to apply those skills in a way that actually creates passive income. And so I'll just give you this as one example. We met thelandgeek.com. If you ever know Mark Podolsky, he's a great person to interview if you haven't already. And he teaches you how to go and find motivated sellers who are not on the market right now to sell you their property that they may have inherited or they've just been sitting on, and they had intentions for this property, but it hasn't worked out. And they're willing to sell you their land for 25 to 30 cents on the dollar because they're behind on their taxes. They're not enjoying the land. It's just really like that old lawnmower in your garage that you don't use and you don't have any use for, and someone comes up and says, "Hey, I'll give you $10 for it." You're like, "Thank you. You got that off of my hands." That's how people treat their land at certain motivational points, right?
Yeah, my dad had some land like that back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he bought some land by the freeway about 10 years too soon, and he was paying taxes on it. The city kept bugging him, the grass and the this and the that, and then there was trucks parking there, and then it became a liability issue, and it was a $15,000 fence to put up, and then you got to have somebody go check on the fence every month. And he's like, I've been feeding this alligator every month for the last 10 years. And he told a couple friends, he was just at a dinner party, just bitching one day. And the next thing you know, they talked to their friends and they brought him a low offer. And then 10 years later, they built a huge truck stop on there. He's like, "I should have kept it." I was like, "Shoulda, coulda, woulda, Dad. You should have just given me the money."
Exactly. But what's interesting is what the Land Geek does is he takes that land and he turns around to the retail market and he makes it an owner financing deal, right? So he goes to the market. He says, let's say I bought this property for $3,000. I turn around and I sell it on the retail market for $12,000, but it's really only $200 a month for 60 months. Now I've made it affordable for somebody to pay retail for this land. And I've created a $200 a month income stream from something that only cost me $3,000. The returns on that are sick. And if you could do that over and over and over again, we actually hired the Land Geeks team to run our business, our Land Geek business for us. And it's just this last month, I don't even know if it's come out yet, but I'll just tell you behind the scenes, it's a little over $27,000 in note income that we've created in 3 years. And that number just keeps growing every single month. And I mean, it's super lucrative, but most realtors won't take and slow down to figure out how to take these skills. You already have these skills, right? It's just a matter of applying them in a way that will now start to take the pressure off of you to produce.
So I wrote this down before we switched gears, and Alex Hormozy, Jason Capital, Tony Robbins, you name them, they talk about it, but it's this like false optimism, uninformed optimism, whatever the label that you want to call it. But it's essentially, we think, right? When I was in real estate, I never thought I would stop selling real estate. Like, why would I shut down a business that was doing 7 figures? I never imagined retiring from sales of real estate when I was in the bubble. But then when I got out of the bubble, I was like, I can't imagine doing this for another day, because I was just like, it just wasn't working in my life anymore for my health, my family, and a lot of different things. How do you feel optimism or uninformed false optimism plays when agents are young, making a ton of dough? Like, it's a mindset thing, right? So they're making a ton of dough and they think that it's never going to change, right? Or like, because you were in the mortgage industry, so you actually saw from a different set of eyes than I did.
Yeah, what? Trust me, I already made reference to it, but man, 2010 was a rough time. Man, I saw realtors that were at the top of their game suddenly like looking for work and getting cars repossessed and moving out of houses, foreclosing on a house. I mean, and when you're in real estate and you have a house foreclosed on, I can't imagine a more just sinking feeling than being in that position, right? And I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm just saying, if you're putting that to that position, it's just a really low point for anybody.
Right.
And the lifestyle creep that happens, we all are subject to it. It's not like anybody's better than anybody else. But to your point, the market is a variable you cannot control that will keep you from being able to produce. It can. Now, I'm not saying that people haven't pivoted even within the current market and found creative ways to continue to increase and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of people that can't pivot or choose not to. And man, to me, it's a very, very difficult place for a realtor to be if they haven't done the work to start, again, putting some money over into this bucket over here. And I'll say this, Wall Street wants to tell you that you're too busy and or you're not smart enough to invest for yourself. And so they want you to just kind of funnel money to them and have them be the money babysitter. Well, the money babysitter is never the option. That's never the answer. It's like there's an easy button to investing and they're trying to say that that's the easy button. But the truth of the matter is you have to slow down. You have to build margins in your time and in your money to create and to invest in yourself, right? The education that it takes to create passive income is not readily, even though there's all sorts of information on the internet, like you said, Cody, it's not always that easy to put it all together. And you have to slow down to get good mentors, to get good coaches, right? Those things are invaluable, especially when it comes down to a shifting market.
Yeah.
When closing out here, I want to give someone like that is listening that maybe they're doing, a couple deals a month and they want to find that thing that will give them the passive income, like because you said like invest in things that you already know. And a lot of agents out there, they understand real estate. And you even give it the example of like the land flipping or, it could be Airbnb arbitrage. How does, aside from getting like a mentor, because like, aside from hiring a coach or joining a mastermind, how do you generally see the people in your communities taking the first step towards making a decision that they're going to apply the knowledge that they already have towards it. Cause I think like it can be scary, like for somebody that that has that feeling of like, okay, if I take my eye off of what I'm currently doing in order to go learn this thing, then my business might take a dip. How does one not sacrifice their business income, active income, while they search for ways to create passive income?
Well, such a great question. And I'm going to give you a story. One of the girls that just joined our passive income mastermind, she was actually in our first level mastermind first. And the thing that she shared with me was super interesting. It applies to this exact question. She's actually in the accounting space. She has her own practice. And she said, you know what? For the longest time, I've really not been super happy in what I'm doing, working a lot of hours. So it's not too dissimilar to being a real estate agent and feeling like, man, I'm just on this hamster wheel. I'm working so hard. I really need to try to slow down, but I can't. She's like, I was going to just sell my accounting practice. Like that was my eventual goal. And she said, but what I realized by going through coaching with your team here is that my greatest asset was my active business. And I do not disagree with you on that. In fact, as a realtor, you should hear me loud and clear saying your active business is your number one asset. The difference is, she said, this is the key takeaway. She said, I had to realize that I needed to start replacing myself to be in my business to create the time freedom that I needed to then start looking for other ways to leverage the cash that I was creating into passive income. And so to your question, Cody, if I'm a realtor right now, I'm having some success in my active business. My very first thing, this is kind of even counterintuitive to me saying, hey, call Wealth Without Wall Street. I would call a business coach. Maybe it's you, Vikram, I don't know, but somebody that can help me to determine how to hire the right people to leverage my time to go and do some of these other things. So I can increase my active income without it having to be on me, which actually creates less risk. I mean, that's a super important takeaway. Hire a business mentor, a coach who has been there and who has been able to remove themselves out of certain seats of the business, and then start to invest that cash flow into passive income. And I would say hire another coach for that. That's kind of where we come into the play, and we're happy to help you. But I think your very first step is take care of ground zero, take care of home base.
So good.
I love that. If somebody were to want to reach out to you, Joey, and they want to have a conversation about Wealth Without Wall Street, they want to pick your brain, they want to learn more about your mastermind, where is the best place that we can reach them for them to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, so we have several different free resources and a couple of things that are paid. If you want to go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/RE Agent Podcast, that's wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/RE Agent Podcast. You can connect with us there. We have a free app that you can download on the App Store at Wealth Without Wall Street. And in the chat, man, just hit me up. Let me know you heard me here with Cody and Vikram, and always love to connect that way. But our coaches will be glad to walk you through the entire process when the time is right for you.
If you guys want to listen to Russ, I believe he was episode 167. And you're going to be in the 200s, Joey. So that's crazy.
And I would say, don't waste your time listening to him. Be honest, I'm way better.
That's what I say about when Cody does a solo episode. I don't listen to Cody. He doesn't.
No, don't listen to Cody. No worries.
Cody, Canadians. I'll get out of here.
Sorry.
Love you, man.
Okay. Joey, I want to say thank you for joining us today on another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. And I want to say thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Bow, 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 bow.